Hey there, podcast lovers. Looking for a fresh take on the world? Tune into Nikki's World, where we dive into everything hitting the headlines and chat about just what's on our minds. No filters, just real talk. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee or unwinding after a long day, Nikki's World is your go-to for genuine commentary on the real world. Subscribe now if you want to hear the real deal on what's going on. Join the conversation on Nikki's World, where every episode feels like catching up with an old friend. Don't miss out.
What's up, y'all? Let's do this. Oh, hi guys. Welcome to Nikki's World. I'm Nikki, your host, and today, guys, we're going to talk about how violent the left can get in this country. And boy, guys, judging by what's going on in this country right now, the left is getting more and more violent, guys. They really are. But before we go any further, guys, if you guys love Nikki's World so much, seriously, y'all, seriously, can y'all please consider donating a cup of coffee for me? Because for a price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and Cumberland Farms, guys, you guys help keep this podcast show alive. You guys help me curate more stories, more topics like this to talk about. I do accept Bitcoin donations, guys. I am on Ko-fi. If you guys want to support, sponsor, donate, and tip to Nikki's World. If you guys love Nikki's World so much, seriously, y'all, seriously, please hit that like, subscribe, please give me a review. Good, bad, and the ugly. Also, guys, I do have 3 affiliate links. First off is Minds.com. Minds.com is a Connecticut based social media company. If you guys value your right to speak freely and you guys want to do it in a way that you will not get suspended, blocked, deplatformed, or censored, come join me at Minds.com. Also, guys, I do have an affiliate link with Byrna. Byrna, guys, is the less lethal pistol. If you guys value your right to Second Amendment and you guys want to defend yourself in a less lethal manner, guys, you guys can head on over to Byrna. They will hook you up with the Byrna SD, Byrna LE, TCR, and Mission 4. And if you want to defend yourself and you guys want to do it in a less lethal manner, where instead of like taking a life, you guys can knock them down long enough for law enforcement to come over and pick them up and toss them into jail, head on over to Byrna, guys. They will hook you up with the best Byrna pistols out there, guys. And also, ladies and gentlemen, if you know anyone that needs to wear adult diapers like I do, guys, and they need to wear adult diapers, send them on over to my friends at North Shore Medical Supply, guys. They will hook them up with the top of the line Megamax diapers, their North Shore Supreme pull ups, guys. and they're turn up boosters. And I tell you guys, I wear North Shore diapers. They make the best diapers on the market, guys. And if you know someone that needs to wear adult diapers, guys, send them on over to North Shore Medical Supply. They will hook them up. And before we get this show on the road, literally, guys, if you guys love this episode and any of my other episodes on Nikki's World, seriously, y'all, can y'all please consider sharing this across all the social media platforms that are out there today? Woo! Wow, yeah. Ooh, yeah. That was a mouthful, ladies and gentlemen. That was a mouthful. And seriously, man, that was seriously a mouthful. But I have to say like this, guys. I have to say like this, man. Before we get the show going, I got my last shipment of diapers coming today, and due to the tariff war coming out, the price of diapers have jumped, and it's a shocker, and it's why I promoted a lot on the show that a lot of stuff needs to be made in America. A lot of this stuff needs to be brought back to the United States of America so diapers can be made right here in the good old US of A, guys. I seriously do. But anyway, guys, I'm diapered up as always. I'm in my Little's laboratory onesie. I'm in my North Shore Mega Max diapers as always. I'm diapered up, padded up. Now let's get on with the show, shall we? So today, guys, I want to talk about the left, specifically the radical leftists, Antifa types, the Pantifa types, the basically all the Democrats, the liberals, and basically all the commies on the left. I want to talk about these guys because these two articles, okay, from the Daily Caller and Breitbart, the left, and this one I'm going to read you this from the Daily Caller first. From the Daily Caller, the left is out for blood, literally. Read you the gist of the headline by Natalie Scandal. The American left needs to update their yard sign. Something like, in this house, we believe it's okay to kill the president of the United States. The new data, and and I'm reading this for verbatim, guys. The new data from the Network Contagion Research finds 55% of self identified left of center Americans believe Trump assassin would be somewhat justified. And this includes the 13% who believe murder would be completely justified. That statistic right there, ladies and gentlemen, should send alarm bells to Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Christine Nome, and Pam Bondi. That should be their 3 a.m. wake up call when they're asleep in bed, and all of a sudden this pops up into from their brain cell. That should be like, oh shit. I condone, I condemn violence in this country. Okay, I'm fine with you having a political opinion about something, but when you cross that red line to violence, this is when the legal system needs to come in and then haul your fucking ass into prison. The 55% of Americans, the 55% of the left to center Americans who think it's okay to go beat up on President Donald Trump, these are the 55% who need to go to jail, who need to go to fucking prison. These are the people who think it's okay to to go after Trump. And then this article said that includes the 13% who thinks murder is justified. We're getting into this territory, ladies and gentlemen, of political violence here. The political violence is going to keep ratcheting up. Okay, it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to get worse as the months drag on, the years drag on. It is going to get worse. Okay? And I'll read you this from this article. Assassinations of political rivals is now the leftist party line. The legacy media's coverage of the attempts on Trump's life revealed as much. The president didn't suffer a head wound, but if he did, it was a good thing. And then I'll read you the second article. The sentiments are married to actions. Remember that rash of non-binary vandals lighting Teslas on fire? How about a letter released days ago revealing the would-be killer of the Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh set to plead guilty to attempted assassination? Basically, it's like this, guys. Judging by this article saying, and I'll get you to this, the left's terrorist sympathies indicate them on two counts. They are mentally deranged and they feel disempowered. Here's the problem. The left is rudderless. They are rudderless because they lost the election on November 5th, 2024. And President Trump came back on January 20th, 2025. They lost. Now, if we in the conservative, libertarian, and Republican Party lost an election, we wouldn't be violent like the left. We wouldn't be calling for blood. We wouldn't be calling for this. We just go like this. Okay, let's do an autopsy of what happened, why we lost the election. What can we do to improve? How can we get our messaging out there? How can we work with the people? That's how we would do it. But to the left, they lose an election, they're calling for bloody violence. They're calling for bloody murder. They're calling for bloody assassinations. We're not the same as these people, ladies and gentlemen. We are not the same. We will never be the same. Okay? We will never be the same. And then I'm going to read you this article from Breitbart. No, 55 of the leftists believe it's justifiable to assassinate Trump thanks to apps like Blue Sky. And then I'll read you the first two paragraphs. A troubling new study backs up what has become obvious since November presidential election. The political left is seeking to normalize and use violence to achieve its fascist political goals. This is also known as terrorism. And the Network Contagion Research Institute recently issued a new report finding the growing number of people willing to justify, even applaud, killing in the name of politics, a warped sense of social justice, per Fox News. The chilling change appears to have accelerated in recent months. Thanks to leftist echo chambers like Blue Sky, or as I call it, Blue Cry, it has become a haven where these people have circle jerked and talk about political violence, talk about like assassinating a political figure or political opponent. This is where I'm gonna say this. Dear Cash Patel, dear Dan Bongino, please, for the love of God and all its good graces and all this stuff, can we stop the left from crossing that red line into political violence? Can we clamp them down as much as we can? Please. Once we cross that red line, ladies and gentlemen, and I remember Dan Bongino saying this before he became deputy director of the FBI, okay? And he said this on his podcast show that once we cross that line into political violence, there's no going back. There's no going back, okay? Even like this, once you let the genie out of the bottle, there's no fucking way you're putting that genie back. There's no fucking way. The reason why I'm harping this, guys, and the reason why I'm saying this on my show, political violence does not solve anything. The left, which is mentally deranged, mentally unstable, and mentally unhinged, these people will think that it's okay to politically assassinate someone. They'll think it's okay to politically go after your opponent and all that. Political violence does not solve anything, ladies and gentlemen. Political violence does not solve anything. Okay? The problem with the left is that they can't get their ideas across. They can't. And I remember Dan Bongino saying this. They think we, on the Republican, conservative, libertarian, are bad people. Okay? But we have good ideas. We reversely think they're bad people with bad ideas. The problem is they don't know how to get their ideas across. All they do is like shout down over you, and if you disagree with them, they name call you every name in the book. They will even hound you, harass you, dox, intimidate, bully, up to the point of politically doing the violent things to get their message across. That's what's wrong with the left in this country. That's what's wrong with them. They think it's okay to resort to political violence when you disagree with someone. This is why I sit there and I go like this. The 55% who think that it's okay to basically like go after President Trump and probably try to harm him are those 55% who need to be thrown in federal prison, who need to be put in prison where they fucking belong. And then also on that out of that 55%, that 13% think political violence is okay. They need to be thrown in prison. Their right to own a gun should be stripped. Okay? Their right to own a gun should be stripped permanently. Because I'm gonna tell you this, guys. Political violence does not solve anything. Political violence does not get your message across. It makes people hate you even more. It makes you feel more isolated than ever before. It makes you guys. And on this show, we condemn political violence. We condemn it. We will strictly call you out if you promote political violence to get your message across. We will call you out. We will shine a light on your face, on your fat, ugly ass, saying that what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing is not the American way. It is not. What what you're doing is going to cause more damage than you already caused. It's that simple. And the fact of the matter is, guys, I condemn political violence. If you want to get your view across, why don't you write a blog? Start a blog. Start a YouTube channel. Start a podcast like a lot of us conservatives have done. Start one. Start a YouTube channel. Start this. Get your message across that way. Why would you want to use a bullet to get your message across? That's that's essentially like creating more damage on the back end than the damage on the front end. Yeah, but why? Political violence does not solve anything, ladies and gentlemen. And the left who thinks that it's okay, especially the 55% and the 13% who think it's okay from these two articles from the Daily Caller and from Breitbart. No, that's not okay. That's not okay. Political violence doesn't solve anything in this country. Political violence, the ones that are causing it, get your ass in prison. Do the left not think about this? Do the left not realize that that's what's going to get you thrown in prison? You think that going to prison, you're going to be a martyr? Oh, hell fuck no, you're not. You're probably going to be another prison inmate who's probably doing what? 15 to life? Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Good luck getting your good luck getting your hormones, your sex change. Good luck being able to go into what, women's prison if you're a trans cult terrorist. Yeah, good luck with that. Especially at the federal level, maybe state level, maybe a little different, but at the federal level, good luck with that. But I'm just here to say this, guys. And I'm just here to say this. Political violence does not solve anything. The leftists out there who think that political violence does solve anything, you're the people that Cash Patel and Dan Bongino should be getting that knock on the door. You're the people that Cash Patel and Dan Bongino should be sitting you down at a table and having that nice, long conversation. Because if these people, especially on the leftist blue quiet echo chamber, who talk about political violence, talk about taking out Trump and all this, or taking out conservatives, libertarians, or anyone who they deem as a Nazi, you're the people who should be getting that knock on the door by Cash Patel and by Dan Bongino. You're the people that should get that knock on the door. And I would say that Cash Patel and Dan Bongino, I voted for Trump and I voted for you guys to take care of this mess. Yeah. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get your message across, don't hit somebody over with a placard or with a sign. Don't hit them with that. See, just talk it out. Get your message across. Write articles. Write a blog post. Start a YouTube or Rumble channel. Like, getting your ideas across. Start a podcast. Many of us conservatives, libertarians, have gotten back to podcasting, and we saw the value of how podcasting has gotten the message out. Give you an example. Joe Rogan, he's the king of podcasting. He is. And he got what? He got what? Mark Zuckerberg on his show. He got what? President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, Elon Musk. Yeah, he got them all on the show, and look what happened. They were able to get the message out. They were able to talk freely, okay? And he was able to say his peep, got the message out, and I guarantee you, man, the the Joe Rogan episode of President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, and Mark Zuckerberg, you could all listen to it, watch the video. And I'm telling you guys, he was able to get the message out. He was able to connect with people, okay? And people were able to see what they wanted to know about it. And that's why everybody even still watches it. Yeah. And that's why it's like this. The White House is glad they got podcasters out. Yeah, they really do. But let's get back to the let's circle back to the articles. The left who thinks that it's okay to commit political violence to get your message across, these people have become mentally deranged. And I like the gist of this, and I like this paragraph of the article. Blue Sky was modeled as a safe alternative to Twitter for the left, but what it's become is an extremist platform. Hmm. Basically, it's like this. Blue Sky has become a haven for leftists, for trans cult terrorists, for men who cosplay as women. Yeah. And these are the violent leftists that are on Blue Cry, or as it's known, Blue Sky. But I call it Blue Cry because it's for leftists who have a temper tantrum like a 5-year-old because they can't get their way. But the sad reality is, guys, the sad reality is this, okay? Is that the left is all about using violence to get their message across. What they don't understand is that kind of thing gets you in jail, gets you in prison, and gets you a criminal record that ultimately, if you're a convicted felon, if you're a prison inmate, you're a convicted felon, that means, ladies and gentlemen, you're banned from ever owning a gun. Yeah. A lot of these leftists don't think this because they're mentally deranged. That they don't think that, just because I hate Elon Musk, I hate Trump, I hate Nazis and all this, I hate conservatives and all this, that I beat them up and all this. Yeah, that gets you thrown in prison. That gets you labeled as a prison inmate, and then when you do your time and you're out, you're a convicted felon. That means you're not allowed to own a gun. And if you're a felon who is in possession of a gun, that's a criminal charge right then and there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's a criminal charge right then and there, guys. That is what gets you thrown in prison. That is what gets you thrown in prison. And you gotta love blue sky, aka blue cry. A lot of these leftists who have been saying buy guns and all this, you know, you're doing what conservatives do. We buy guns, but we do it for legal means. We do it for self-defense. Okay, we do it within the confines of the law. And many of these leftists are saying buy guns, but here's the problem. Many of these leftists are probably what? Convicted felons. Okay. Many of these what have criminal records that will bar them from owning a gun. Yeah. Pretty much in any state, guys. And I'm gonna tell you this, in any state, you can't own a gun if you're a convicted felon. You can't be in possession of a gun if you're a prohibited possessor. Okay? You can't own one. They have a concealed carry permit from the state of Connecticut. I can legally, with my card, or as they call it, the blue card. I can literally take my blue card, go walk into a gun store, show my gun permit. They do all the formalities, and if the gun permit checks out that you're approved, shit, you can I could walk out with one legally, of course. But the left thinks that, buy a gun, hit a Nazi, like vandalize the car and all this shit. That doesn't solve anything, dude. That makes you a criminal. And you know what we do to criminals? We throw them in county jail. It's that fucking simple. We throw them in county jail. It's that simple, guys. It really is. But I'm here to say this, man. But I'm here to say this. Violence does not solve anything, guys. Violence does not. Okay? Political violence does not solve anything. If you want me to give you a good mini history here, look what happens when you commit political violence outside of the United States. It winds up being a civil war. It winds up being like a civil war. Look what happens when you try to commit political violence in other countries. It winds up being like a bloody civil war. We don't want that here in this country. We don't. That's why we're trying to stop that. We're trying to prevent that. And we're trying to make sure y'all people on the left don't cross that red line. And I will defend that red line and defend that to make sure you don't cross it. Okay? It's that simple. It is. It is. We're okay with you having your opinion, being able to speak freely. I will defend your right to speak freely. But once you try to cross that line into political violence, that's when you get to meet Cash Patel and Dan Bongino. That's when you get to meet those guys. But I will defend your right to speak freely. You have every right in the United States of America to speak freely. Okay? That's your constitutional right there. But once you cross that line into political violence, you get to meet Cash Patel and Dan Bongino. You really do. And I hope you don't meet them in a bad way. It'd be good to meet them in a good way, maybe at a public speaking event or a lecture circuit, like if they did a TED talk or they did like a lecture, like a presentation and all that. That'd be great to meet them and say, wow, yeah. But like I said, man, I'm okay with you speaking your opinion, but I will defend your right to speak freely, but I will block you from crossing that red line into political violence. But when you cross that red line, you're gonna wind up meeting. I'll give you the four people: Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Christine Nome, Pam Bondi. When you cross that red line, that's simple, guys. It's that simple. But that's why it's like this. I want to make I want to make sure like this that your right to speak freely is defended. But when you cross that red line, I'm going to do all I can to make sure you don't cross it. But once you cross it, I'm going to go with this. Dan, Cash, you want to deal with these people? It's that simple. It really is. It is, guys. That's why political violence does not solve anything. And these people on Blue Sky that are promoting it, hope to God that Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Christy Nome, and Pam Bondi have eyes on that platform. I hope and pray to God they have FBI agents who are listening in on that, because those people who are promoting political violence should not be allowed in civil society ever again. It's that simple, guys. It really is. They should not be allowed. They should not be allowed in civil society. And the people who commit political violence should be banned from ever owning a gun. I would go so far, ladies and gentlemen, as to promote a federal law banning anyone who commits political violence from ever owning a gun for the rest of their natural life. That means if a trans cult member commits political violence, they would be banned for life from ever owning a gun. It's that simple. And I would promote and I would back any politician who writes that law at the state and federal level. I would back them 100% if they write that as a federal law or as a state law too. Okay? I would back that because political violence does not solve anything. And the way the left is going right now, guys, is that these people are getting more and more violent every day. And it's only going to get worse. And you remember those summer riots during the first Trump administration? Think of that. Magnify it by a factor of 10. That's where we're headed, guys. And if we don't put a clamp on this, okay, guys, if we don't put a stop to this, it's only going to get worse, guys. It's only going to get far worse. All right. So anyway, I want to talk about this article, and this came like yesterday on the New York Post. A viral AI video mocks the idea of Americans working in factories as Trump promises to restore manufacturing through tariffs. Okay, now read you the first two paragraphs. The art of a trade war. An AI generated video mocking the prospect of Americans working in factory jobs has been viewed over 6 million times in the wake of President Trump's tariff agenda. The video aimed at undermining Trump administration's promise to create U.S. manufacturing jobs using tariffs depicts depressed looking, larger bodied Americans working in sweatshop like environments set to twangy score of traditional Chinese music. So basically, it's like this. This generation of leftists in the United States of America, guys, they don't read their history, okay? They don't read their history. All they read is what is present in front of them, okay? And they won't go so far back as what? 4 years ago? They don't read their history that we had manufacturing, okay? We had manufacturing from the Industrial Revolution in the United States of America all the way up to the end of the 1990s, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? All the way up to the 1990s. The left thinks that, oh, it's working in factories like a sweatshop. It's like depressed fat people. But they're mocking fat people too. Yeah. How does that jive? How does that jive? The fact of the matter is, guys, we had manufacturing here in this country. We manufactured our own stuff. We manufactured everything. We manufactured refrigerators that were built like a tank and that could last for a very fucking long time, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, refrigerators today, what, only last year, like what? About no more than what, 10 years, and then they fall apart? Refrigerators in the what? Refrigerators what in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you know what I mean? Were built like a tank. They were built to basically to survive a nuclear blast. They were, guys. That's what a lot of people don't fucking realize. We built refrigerators like that. But the left but some leftists or basically some Chinese guy made a viral AI video trying to mock fat Americans working in factories. Obviously, has not read our history here, ladies and gentlemen. We had factories here in America in the what during World War like what World War II, Korea, like the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and the Cold War. We had factories like that. That's why a lot of blue collar jobs were built on. Okay, we had factories, guys. We had factories that manufactured everything from medical gear to my adult diapers that I wear. Yeah, yeah, to even to my adult diapers. We had everything. We had everything going in this country. We built everything in this country. And the left, after what? Let me see. After Clinton and Obama weakened after Clinton, Obama, and Brandon weakened this country to the point that even like soy boys would cry over walking into a factory. It's like this. They wouldn't cry if they walked into an Amazon facility, but they would cry walking into a factory that manufactured goods that was sold on Amazon. I'm telling you, man, I lived, I was born in 1976, ladies and gentlemen. So I got to see as a kid growing up what the factories were. And there are still, ladies and gentlemen, mom and pop factories it, dotted along this country. And they're still producing. There are small, medium factories that make parts for larger parts. Yeah, they really do. But I will tell you this: the left mocking, mocking us, saying that we're gonna be like fat, overweight, depressed people, or like thin people working in factories. You realize these factories are what built this country? You realize the building that you're in, the road that you came on, the hospital that you were born in was all made in America, was all made in this country. Yeah, yeah, we built all this stuff. And then in the 1990s, when we had NAFTA, that all went away, and that went what to countries with cheap labor, like what, China, Vietnam, Bangladesh. You know what I mean? Indonesia and all that. It went over there. Yeah. But then the left thinks, yeah, that's okay. But we're trying to tell people, look, ever since COVID, we need to bring manufacturing back to America. We need to manufacture our own equipment here. Okay? Bringing manufacturing back, ladies and gentlemen, brings jobs. All right? It brings it brings security. It brings job security, guys. It basically says like this, that when the next pandemic hits, we're not going to be relying on supply chains and shipping, okay? We're not going to be relying on that because we manufacture our own stuff right here in the United States of America, and we have our own shipping and supply chain, and we don't have to worry about that. Because what the left doesn't understand, and thank God I'm in the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary, and I understand this very well. 90% of the world's economy and the world's goods comes by water. Your iPhone comes by water. Your MacBook comes by water. Your iPad comes by water. Your clothes that you wear comes by water. It is not manufactured or assembled here in America. It is manufactured in sweatshops, say in Bangladesh, India, Vietnam, China. Okay, it is assembled over there and then shipped over here and sold over here. It is. We bring those back over here, guys. People would have jobs. You know, it's kind of funny, and this is, I'm going to give this analogy here on the show. It's kind of funny how people say like this, oh, we need jobs in this country. We need jobs in this country. But then these people who are saying we need jobs in this country, why aren't you fighting the companies that have shipped jobs overseas? Fight them to bring the jobs here into America. Because especially it'd be great. And I'm sorry if you heard that ding on my phone, guys, and that alert. I apologize for that. But why aren't we like bringing jobs back? Why aren't we, guys? Why aren't we? You know, a lot of these leftists who try to preach about, oh, we need jobs, especially for people coming out of prison. Well, why aren't you fighting the companies that have shipped jobs overseas, bring manufacturing back to America? And I tell you what, when we had manufacturing in this country, not a lot of people wound up in prison. Few, very few, but not a whole lot of people. A whole lot of people got jobs. They worked. And a lot of people say this: as long as you're employed, you're less likely to do something stupid. As long as you're employed or going to school or going to a trade school, you are less likely to do anything stupid. Okay, you were less likely. But that's why, ladies and gentlemen, you're mocking the fact that we built this country. We built this country. That we had manufacturing going. We really did. But they're mocking us for it. They're mocking the fact that we did this in the past. Yeah, and we can do it again here in this country. We really can. We really can. But anyway, I want to talk about this article from the Hartford Courant, okay? Former Facebook executive tells Senate committee company undermined U.S. national security with China. Color me shocked. Color me shocked. Facebook, which I don't use anymore, but I still use their own Instagram, is facing an antitrust like court case, and now comes out that they were working with the Chinese government to undermine US national security. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, this is why, ladies and gentlemen, I was proven right again that Facebook is working directly with the Chinese Communist Party to undermine our U.S. national security interests. And I'll read you the headline from the Hartford Courant. Former Facebook executive Sarah Wynne Williams testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee on Wednesday, accusing the social media company of undermining national security and briefing China on U.S. artificial intelligence effort in order to grow its business there. Basically, guys, this former Facebook executive spilled the beans in front of the Judiciary Committee. She spilled the beans in front of them as this in the end right here. As the hearing comes just days before Meta's massive antitrust trial is scheduled to begin, the Federal Trade Commission's case against the tech giant could force the company to divest Instagram and WhatsApp. Basically, is like this. Facebook wants to do business in China, but Facebook has to sell all its dirty secrets to China in order to get in there. Okay? So Facebook undermined U.S. national security interests and sold our national security interests just to do business with China. And then at the same time, they're facing a Federal Trade Commission antitrust trial. I go like this, ladies and gentlemen. When that federal anti when that Federal Trade Commission trial goes to court that day, mark that day on your calendar as the day you saw Facebook declining. You saw Facebook dropping like a rock. That you saw that company disappear. Because I will tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the day that Facebook has to break up its companies that it owns, like WhatsApp and Instagram, they're done. They're done as a social media platform. That sends a shot across the bow saying that Facebook is done. They're finished. They're dead. they will be wiped out as a social media company. Their rivals will are like vultures right now, circling over Facebook, going, how soon do we pick off this company? Yeah, their rivals like what? MeWe Minds are just hovering above, waiting for the day when Facebook collapses, and then they're like vultures picking them off. Yeah, telling you, man, telling you, that's going to happen, guys. That's going to happen. And mark my words, that's going to happen. Y'all can flag it, okay? Y'all can flag it on Thursday, April 10th, 2025. Y'all can flag it, guys. Y'all really can. All right. Anyway, I want to talk about these last two articles, guys. This this comes from CT Mirror and the Connecticut Centennial. Connecticut lawmakers seek to restrict Avail Airlines from contracting with ICE. Essentially, guys, this is a blue state. This is a blue progressive state of Connecticut dictating what a business can and cannot do. So this airline, Avail, was contracted by ICE to deport illegal immigrants from this country. They were contracted to fly them out of America. But then you have these progressive Democrats who are all about open borders, illegal immigration, giving them driver's license, giving them Medicaid, giving them food stamps, giving them free housing. Yeah, they're all about that. But they're crying because Trump is cleaning house. Trump is getting rid of all the illegal immigrants. Some of them have what? Criminal convictions? Some of them are what? Wanted in their own country? Yeah. Yeah. But they think that, oh, it's okay for them to come to this country. It's okay. Yeah. I'll read you the headlines from this. I'll read you the headlines. Days after Avail Airlines said it would begin charter deportation flights out of Mesa, Arizona for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Connecticut lawmakers took up a proposal prohibiting companies who wish to contract with state agencies from working with federal immigration authorities. This is how you know my. I live in Connecticut. I'm a libertarian, independent here. This is how you know the progressive liberals here in this state who think that immigration is a human right, that they think that nobody is illegal. But yet we have skyrocketing crime up here in this country. Yet we have crime that is so sky high, but they don't want to deal with it. They think, oh, that's their culture. That's what they do. Yeah, yeah. But then now you got like lawmakers in Connecticut who want to tell companies that if you want to work with us at the state level, you can't work with immigration authorities. You know, how about this? How about this? Companies that work for blue states who have these kind of stupid ass idiot laws should lose their federal funding. Okay? Should I go like this? I go like this. Any state who thinks it's okay for men to compete in women's sports and who think that like it's wrong to go after illegal immigrants, arrest them and deport them, should lose federal funding. Yeah, they should. They should. And sorry if you heard the ding, guys. I apologize for that. And they should, because I'm gonna tell you right now, guys. I'm gonna tell you right now, they should lose federal funding. They should. And if they lose federal funding, oh well, if the state goes bankrupt, not my problem. And if the state decides to raise taxes, because they wanted to play hardball with the federal government. Go ahead, raise taxes. See how fast. See how fast you empty half the state. See how fast people with means, money, and skills go to states, go to red states. See how fast. And then what you're left is what? Low skilled, low skilled GED workers. Yeah. See how that flies. See how that flies. And see how that supports the economy in your state. Yeah, see how that. And then this from Connecticut Centennial. Attorney General William Tong today sent a letter to Avail Airlines expressing his deep disappointment, demanding answers to a series of questions regarding the company's decision to enter into a contract to operate a charter flight for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. You know, I want to say this to William Tong. If you want to be a politician instead of attorney general, get the fuck out of the office, you a-hole. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. You sound to me like a politician more than an attorney general enforcing the law. You sound like that, man. Get the fuck out, asshole. Seriously, get the effing motherfucker out. Really? Really, man, get the fuck out. You sound like a politician who who's demanding this and this and this and this and this instead of being an attorney general who enforces the law. Yeah, he needs to decide whether he wants to be an attorney general or a politician. You can't be both, asshole. You can't be both. Pick one or the other, dude. Pick one. Pick one. Seriously. Seriously, pick one. For crying out loud, dude. You got progressive Democrats who are now demanding companies answer to the state to the state why they're working with federal immigration on deporting illegals. This is why they're going to continue to lose elections. This is why they're going to continue to lose. And I'm telling you, one day when the federal government yanks their federal funding and they remove federal dollars like the feds are doing right now in the state of Maine because Maine allowed men to compete in women's sports. Yeah, look what happened. State's going to run a budget deficit. State's going to be broke because they're going to be like this. Well, that made the bulk of our federal, that made the bulk of our budget, but now because the feds took the money away, yeah, yeah, they're going to be broke. They're going to be broke. Hmm. I would not be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if the feds did the same thing in Connecticut. If the feds did that here in Connecticut, I'm going to say it like this. Our state budget has what? About, I'm going to say like what? 70% that the taxpayers are funding, but then the what? The 30% comes from the feds. If the feds took that 30% away, I'm gonna say it like this: the state's fucked. The state's screwed. They screwed they screwed the pooch. What are they gonna rely on? The Indian casinos to make up the 30% that they're gonna lose from the federal government? Are they gonna rely from the Indian reservations? I don't think that's gonna be sustainable. What are they gonna rely on? What, Keno or what, the Indian casinos or marijuana sales? That's not going to make up the 30%. Telling you, ladies and gentlemen, the, the state of Connecticut is playing Russian roulette with the federal government. They're playing Russian roulette because they want to be all this social justice bullshit crap, which is in the end going to hurt the average state citizen who doesn't want anything to do with the shit. Yeah, And they're only going to hurt themselves in the end. I'm telling you, they're literally going to be shooting themselves in the foot. Okay? They literally are. Because the fact of the matter is that they're gonna be crying when the federal government yanks their funding away from them because they want to play social justice warrior bullshit, saying that you deporting our illegals is wrong. But isn't immigration a federal issue and not a state issue? Maybe the state needs to be told, stay in your own damn fucking lane, asshole. Yeah, it's pretty much that simple. They need to be taught and told, y'all need to stay in your own lane, okay? Pretty much. Yeah. Because immigration is what? A federal issue, not a state issue. Last I'm told, unless I forget the memo or somebody didn't tell me about the memo, guys. Yeah, yeah. But in any case, guys, Connecticut needs to be told to shut the fuck up, and the only way they'll be told that is when the federal government yanks their federal funding because they want to act like tough guys, saying that they're all for illegal immigration. Let's see how that lasts, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how that lasts. Wow, guys, wow. That was a damn well good show. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode, guys. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you all enjoyed the show. I really do, guys. I really do. But anyway, guys, I thank you guys for listening to Nikki's World. I'm Nikki, your host. I will see y'all soon. Bye for now. You just listened to an episode of Nikki's World. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.